No, I'm afraid for the third week in a row I do not have song lyrics for you guys at the beginning. So how about a book quote? It was a dark and stormy night. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, the last for April of 2021. About to head into May, but before we get there, we're going to talk about what happened this week and what's going to be happening next week on the channel. Let's start like we always do, guys. Let's get into what am I reading? Well, you probably know. Still working on this bad boy. And look, though, about 75%. I'm starting book 4, which is the book within the book. Book 4 will be starting tomorrow. I want to say I'll finish it by this weekend, but I don't know how things go when I try to read Malazan around my kids. You just can't really get into the proper headspace for that. So, but obviously it's going to be starting here pretty soon into what we're going to be doing next. There is kind of a little caveat. If you've been following the channel, you know that there are some changes to the Malazan schedule, which I'll be talking about here in a minute. That has affected a lot of things, like me reading Wool. I started reading this, and look, I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was okay. I really did not get that far. I mean, it was probably about 100 pages, which really isn't that far into the book, as you can see. Thought the first story was pretty good. The second one was pretty dull. But that's not why I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it because that Malazan schedule is going to be changing, and I don't have time to be adding any new series because of things that are going to be changing with that, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But there are a lot of changes on the horizon with the schedule, something that some people loved and a lot of people did not love. But whenever you make a decision like that on a channel like this, it's going to get strong opinions either way. But just because some stuff got kind of bumped until 2022, guys, I don't plan to stop reading anytime soon. And as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep making the videos. So if there's something that you were hoping to hear me talk about, I'm going to talk about it. It just got delayed a couple of months. So take it easy here. As far as Wool or Silo in general, I'll be going back to it sometime in 2022. I am sure, because I liked enough of it that I want to continue on. But yeah, right now is just not the time to be slipping in any new series, because there really is not room. If I got room, it's going to be for some standalones or something in there, and I'll talk about those when I get to them. So obviously, moving on to what am I going to read? Well, I already said I'm going to try to finish this weekend, and then after I finish this, and hopefully I don't have the same detox time that I had with Deadhouse Gates, then we'll be moving along to the other stuff, and I'll be beginning the read-along for May for Michael Crichton, and that will be Eaters of the Dead. Now this one, guys, is really easy, 150 pages. It really is a couple of days. The thing with Eaters of the Dead that kind of throws some people off is it's kind of told in epistolary format, where it's kind of like a found footage style book, kind of like a Bram Stoker's Dracula or something, but with Vikings, and Vikings are really awesome, right? But again, that's before we get, that's probably the last easy Crichton read, I call it. Now look, I think that all of his books are pretty simple to read. They're pretty approachable. They're pretty quick reads. But that's the last one before they start getting a little hefty. Sphere really starts to hang into some of the, okay, the hand holding is over. We're really going to get into some deep ideas now. And then Congo is the one where they started getting longer. They started getting true novel length for Crichton. So if you guys haven't jumped on yet, I hope that you will. Because I think that Eaters of the Dead is like The Great Train Robbery, and that it's one that not a lot of people talk about, because they don't know that that movie that came out, The 13th Warrior, was based on Eaters of the Dead. But I'm going to be revisiting that movie as well. I made sure that I did still have a DVD copy of it. Yeah, so obviously I liked it enough to buy the DVD, but I don't remember watching it since the movie theater. So as a Crichton fan, I liked it enough to buy the DVD. That's usually a pretty good sign, since most of his adaptations are usually pretty terrible. But I have good memories of that one. But we'll see upon revisiting. And then, of course, we'll be moving on to the other one, Crichton and King, 4 Past Midnight. This is the novella collection, which I've talked about the last couple of weekly updates, so I'm not going to continue to do that. Awesome. I love the back pictures of these. They're always just so good to see a snapshot in time of what he looked like when he was writing each one. It's good stuff. Good stuff. But lots of good stories in that one. I remember, obviously, Langoliers quite well. Secret Garden, Secret Window. Library Policeman and Some Dog are a little hazy in my memory. It's been since I was a teenager since I revisited those. I think the other ones have had movie adaptations, so they kind of stayed fresh in my mind. Although, I don't know if you call that Langoliers a movie adaptation, because it was something. It was really, really something. But we'll talk about all that stuff when we get into that for Into the Multiverse. That'll actually be not until June. I'm just kind of reading ahead on those. Like I said, the schedule, I'm kind of having to, kind of lopside some stuff here to make sure I have room for everything that I want to do. And that takes us into this week on the channel, guys. Quite a busy, busy week because there was an unexpected change. Now, let's talk about a couple of reviews that I did first. Sticking with Crichton, I did do the Great Train Robbery review. A lot of crickets on that, but I expected that. I expected not that many people to watch that one because I think that might be the one book of his that like absolutely no one has heard of. That or Terminal Man, that only like the really big fans have heard of, and that's fine. I like to think that I do non-spoiler reviews, so you can use those to see if you would like to read it or not. But a lot of people only like to watch videos on books that they've read. So it's with the Crichton stuff, it's kind of like King, is that I know it's not going to get as much traffic and discussion as some of my fantasy stuff, but it's stuff I want to talk about because these are books that I love. So hopefully it will help and encourage more people to discover Mr. Crichton and Mr. King. Obviously that is the goal always with those things. But I also did my review for Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, a book that I thought was absolutely just fantastic, and I could not have enough good things to say about it. I've said that I feel like people, Blake Crouch fans, they seem to love Recursion and dislike Dark Matter, or they seem to love Dark Matter and dislike Recursion. I don't know why, if they're that comparable, that you got to kind of be a one-to-one comparison there, but it just seems like it always comes up. As soon as I get an opening in my schedule, I definitely want to read Recursion because I love Dark Matter. So many good ideas, so much fun, and so many twists and turns in a fast-paced book that I needed. I think I really needed at that time. It was so good, and I hope you guys will definitely check it out and check out that review if you kind of need a little bit of a sales job, because I think you can see my enthusiasm in that review for that book. And I know there are a couple of people on the Discord that are reading it right now, and they're like, wow, I did not expect this to be this good. Well, guys, listen to me, damn it. It's very, 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 very good. Okay, now the Malazan stuff. Now, before I made this decision that I made to change the schedule up, I did do my first spoiler talk for Memories of Ice. That's books 1 and 2 within the book. And in case you guys don't know, each one of these Malazan books has like an Act 1, Act 2, but he calls it book because this is supposed to be a retelling of history, so to speak. So that's why I say book when it gets people confused. I was like, today I was like, I think I'm going to finish book 3 today. And they're like, whoa, 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 like the whole book? And I'm like, no, no, no. The book within the book. So I see how that gets confusing. Book 3, Kapustan. I did finish that today. But I did my spoiler talk for books 1 and 2 within Memories of Ice. And I have a lot of fun doing those because it helps me to detox. It helps me to know when other people tell me that they struggled at the same parts that I am, that I'm not just the dummy that I think I am. Reading these books will really, nothing will humble you more than reading a Malazan book, and you just feel like a complete bumbling idiot with some of these things. But yeah, then the big one was that I decided to change that schedule. And here's the reason is it was late, I was on the Discord, and it seemed like everyone either was not talking about Memories of Ice at all, or they were already on another book, and there were people saying, your schedule's too long, I'm just going to do one per month, and I just got really discouraged. And it was one of those things where I didn't want to be in year 2 and reading The Crippled God and having no new readers to talk to about it. I felt like all I was doing was talking to the rereaders, which is fine. I like the rereaders. I love how they are, but it's like I would like some first-timers to be able to talk about some of these ideas that we're getting while reading it the first time together, because that's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to have that support group. Like I said, it's good to know that other people are struggling to grasp some of the same parts that I am. So that's why I kind of got discouraged and was like, look, if this is like what I did with Wheel of Time, where basically I'm just reading it for the entertainment of people who have already read it, that's fine. But I'm not going to be treating that like a big giant read along on the channel if no one's reading along with me anymore. So I thought the best way to approach that was not only just to speed up the schedule just a tad, and I know that some people got discouraged by that, but really all it is like a few of the, like 2 or 3 of the books we had a 3-month gap between books on. All we did was take away that extra month. So it's just 2 months per book until we're done. That's really all that's changed. Really, it sped the schedule up by a couple of months. That's it. So I don't want anyone getting discouraged and thinking that's just too fast for them. Look, I am being glacially slow with this book, and I will end up finishing it, worst case scenario, in under 3 weeks. So I know a lot of people think that I read like super fast. Not these books, man. I read so slow because I reread. I am on my first reading of Malazan. I feel like I'm already doing my first reread because I reread so many chapters. Everyone's starting on the first day of the month, including myself. That was something that I think I kind of screwed the pooch on when I set this up. With Guardians of the Moon, I felt like, day 1, January 1st, there was so much interaction, not just because it was the first. I thought maybe, it's just because it was the first book, so everyone was excited. But I think it was because, all of us were starting on the same day. And starting with Dead House Gates, everyone just kind of, we got a 2-month gap. Everyone just kind of started when they felt like it. And I think that really kind of hurt things. And especially the feedback that I got, that was a big problem. So House of Chains, when we'll be starting that one on June 1st, everyone's starting together. I think that will be a big improvement. We'll put up a noobs only channel where it's just obviously the veterans are more than welcome to come in there and talk to us. But we're wanting that really them to kind of just watch, just kind of watch it from afar and let us kind of get some of our theories out and stuff. And it's run over really well, So early returns are good. It looks like this is a positive move for the channel, and I'm excited about it. There are some things that suck that I have to kind of move to next year, my horror and some of my sci-fi stuff. But again, that stuff isn't going away. It's just, it's just getting pushed back a couple of months. So, these things happen. So if you aren't into Crichton, you aren't into King, you're into Malazan, I'm sorry. I'm going to have plenty of other content on the channel. That's just the stuff I'm going to be reading. But I'm going to have lots of other content on the channel. Don't worry. Don't I always mix it up enough? And that makes me talk about what's going to be on the channel next week. Let's talk about some next week plans here. I'll be doing my wrap up for the month of April because those are always fun to talk about and kind of talk about growth and talk about what really worked for the channel, what really didn't, what you guys liked the most, what you guys didn't watch. And I would say, hey, give it one more try. Then I'll be moving along to my review of Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Now, I know I said last week that I was going to do it this week. The thing was, is like right when I had it scheduled, I saw like 8 YouTube channels that I follow that were dropping reviews for this. I was like, all right, I think at this point I fear becoming redundant a little bit. So I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move it to release day, which is May the 4th here in the States. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it to that day, and I think that will actually be like I kind of joked about on Instagram, is I don't look at it as being last. I look at it as being final. So that review will be going up there. It's non-spoiler. You guys will be okay, but the only spoiler warning I'll give you guys is that it's going to be a very positive review because it's a John Gwynne book. Duh, it's very good. Then I will be going back into my off the books. I didn't do one for the month of April, so I'm going to kind of get one out here in May. And I kind of really had no idea what it was going to be until about 5 minutes before I started recording this. And I decided I'm going to dip into the world of Quentin Tarantino. This is a conversation that I've had on the Discord recently. Everybody kind of ranks their Quentin Tarantino movies. And I'm going to kind of do like my own personal definitive ranking of written and directed movies by Quentin Tarantino. That means movies that he also wrote the screenplay for, like A True Romance and From Dusk Till Dawn, things like that, that you wouldn't think is a standard Quentin Tarantino movie because, he didn't direct it. So I'm going to kind of throw those in there and do like my personal rankings for it. And I think it's always such a fun conversation because when we talk about Tarantino, it's almost, you talk about ranking his movies, it's almost kind of like the MCU, how everybody has like a different ranking of those movies. Not that the Tarantino movies are anything like MCU movies. I just mean like how everyone's rankings are just so different than everyone else's. So I'm sure it'll cause lots of disagreement because, like I said, everyone's is kind of different when Tarantino. It seems like everyone has Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs up there, and then it's just kind of a crapshoot after that. So that'll be fun to talk about because that is one of my appointment viewing directors out there, along with Denny V and Christopher Nolan. Anything they put out, it is appointment viewing for me to watch ASAP, and I would love to talk a little bit more about him. And then there will be one that's kind of up in the air. I've got kind of what I'm calling a super shelf project right now because if you guys don't know, I'm actually resulting to stack books right now because I don't have any more room on my shelves for them, and that's not okay with me. But the thing is also, I'm kind of out of room. So I've kind of devised a new plan for the room. And really, if I get this video made, it's really just going to depend on if all the materials show up. So if that gets made, I kind of want to show off this new setup that I'm going to have and things like that. And I think it'll be really fun. But again, that one's just kind of up in the air. Just depends on if some of the material shows up, because as of right now, it isn't showing up this weekend. They said they would let me know. And that would be when I do this, is over the weekend, because during the weeknights, it's just with the kids and stuff. No, it's impossible to do a project like that. But that will wrap up the content on the channel for next week. A couple of TV and movie talk things before I go. I did tell you guys a couple of months ago that my kid was acting all macho about scary movies, and we decided to watch Alien. We're really bad parents. Well, we continue to be bad parents, and we let him watch Aliens, which is going to be James Cameron's take on the franchise. A very, very famous sequel. Probably one of those that's in discussion for better than the original. I'm not here to discuss that. I think both movies are just fantastic for different reasons. Alien is a horror movie. Aliens is an action-adventure movie. But he was really interested in this one because he thought it looks like Halo, the movie, you know, and a lot of things you watch that and you say, yeah, it looks like a lot of things from Halo were inspired by that movie. But just a movie that's aged phenomenally. We watched the director's cut. It's like 2.5 hours long. He enjoyed it so much. We usually stuff like that, it's like, okay, we'll break it into a couple of nights if it isn't holding his attention. No, he was all into it. Yeah, there was some bad language and stuff that might have been a little scary for his age. But you know what? I looked back on it, I was like, that's how old I was when I watched it. I like to think I turned out okay. I don't know. That's up for debate. But a great, great movie, and probably one of the greatest badass leading ladies of all time. Sigourney Weaver is Ripley in those movies. Just such an awesome, awesome role for her. And I think it's one that's iconic and has been tried to be copied so many times, and no one's ever really quite done it as well as she did. And yeah, one of the greatest lines in movie history in that one. You know which one I'm talking about. Wheel of Time, the TV series. I don't talk about this stuff very much because whenever you talk about Wheel of Time castings, people start getting all pissy if you have any criticism, and it always turns into you know what. And I try not to do that. I learned my lesson early on this channel when I talked about the Wheel of Time castings that someone's going to be mad regardless of what you say about it. All I'll say is we got another quick tease. And guys, this show better be fucking epic for as much as you guys are teasing this. I mean, it's like, how long are we going to get like, oh, here's a clip of a sword. Oh, here's a clip of a guitar. Here's a 2-second clip of a moraine. Here's a 2-second clip of land. It's just like, okay. I know there's a lot of Wheel of Time only channels out there that are going to break down this photo for 25 minutes. Not me. Cool. It looks cool. It's land. Neat. I'm ready for a trailer, you guys. If it's coming out this year, I think it's supposed to. I mean, I guess it's still kind of up in the air. Guys, it's time for at least like a 30-second teaser trailer or something. Come on. Let us see what this show looks like. You've teased enough. Give us an actual trailer here pretty soon. Jordan Con is supposed to actually be happening this year. That'd be a really great place to debut a trailer, guys, but I don't know how much Amazon is really kind of working with them. I don't know. I just feel like at this point, give us more than a couple of second glimpse of characters here. Let us see at least like a cast photo. Let us see some set photos. Let us see some of these huge props and set designs. Let us see how much you're putting into this show, because right now I feel like it still could go either way, but I'm never going to get down on people being excited about it. Last up, guys, this is kind of a weird one to talk about because I don't talk about it a lot on the channel because I don't really watch every day. I mean, I grew up about 2 miles from where WCW was taking place in Atlanta back in the heyday. And so obviously I used to go and watch Sting and Ric Flair wrestle for like, 60-minute Iron Man matches back in the day for like $4 before WCW blew up there in the 90s. So, I mean, I was a big wrestling guy all the way from, youth until the mid-2000s like everyone else. I still kind of loosely followed it, but I feel like the product has really just been in the toilet ever since WWE bought out WCW. No competition. The product has just clearly suffered. Everyone can kind of tell about this. So when AEW started coming out a couple years ago, I was kind of skeptical. For a long time there, I watched Impact Wrestling because I swore that it was going to push WWE to actually try harder, and it never really got above like its 500,000 kind of viewers crowd on Spike TV, and Spike isn't even around anymore. If Impact's still on, I don't even know about it. But anyway. So when AEW came out, I watched the first episode like a lot of other people. It was cool to see Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross calling matches together, and Chris Jericho being just Chris Jericho, right? What I really like about what they did over there in AEW is WWE is a one-man show. If Vince don't like it, it don't happen. Okay, he's got the final say on everything. This, it seems like it's a lot looser. There's a creative team in place, obviously, but they're kind of letting people go off the cuff, kind of do what they want to do, and it's exciting. But it was always like, but are they ever going to get big enough to push WWE? I mean, look, I doubt it. But, you know, now that NXT is on another night, they're not going head-to-head anymore. And it was, I think it was last week, they actually had a head-to-head matchup with the NBA, a marquee matchup in the NBA, a potential Eastern Conference Finals preview, and it beat the NBA in ratings. And it was like the second highest ratings ever for the show. So I don't know if this is like turning the corner for them or not. Look, this isn't the 90s. You're not going to be pulling these 7-8 million viewers like you used to back then. That'll never happen again. About 1 million viewers for a channel for TNT for a wrestling show would be amazing for them, and they went over 1 million viewers that night. So I see how much they can retain that audience. But that's really cool. A step in the right direction for them. I haven't watched as much of the product as I'd like to. I'm just saying I would love for there to be an actual second option so WWE has to try again, because I don't feel like they try. They've rested on their laurels for almost 20 years now since WCW went away. So for me, it's worth it to check out just because it's going to push them. I would like to, hopefully they get bigger crowds, because to me a wrestling event with small crowds, it's fun if you're there. I mean, you think about like the old ECW days. But if you're not there, you're just watching on TV, it's hard to get really electric when it feels like it's a high school crowd, you know. But again, these things have got to go, you know, slowly, and it seems like they're going in the right direction. I like the direction that their ratings are climbing. And I saw even Eric Bischoff said he was like stunned at how good their ratings are at this point in that promotion. So regardless of how you feel about Eric Bischoff, you know, he is the only person in the last, you know, 40 years to actually push WWE. So I'll always give his opinion a listen on these things. And guys, that was pretty much my week. Ran kind of long here. We started watching The Girl Who Played with Fire. Haven't finished it yet. Haven't gotten Shadow and Bone. Haven't gotten to Mortal Kombat yet. But I'm hoping to get to those a little more this week when things calm down. This will be the first weekend in a while we don't have crazy plans. So what are you guys up to this weekend? Drop in the comments. Let me know what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you are playing. And have yourselves a safe and fun weekend.